Today we're going to be building the bike kit Armadillo. Let's get straight into it. So what is the bike kit Armadillo Shelter? Well, it's a cover that goes over your motorcycle without you having to rely on it laying on your motorcycle. Now this comes in 3 different sizes: small, medium and large. Small for your like scooters, medium for like your Bonnevilles or Yamaha MT-09s, that's very specific, or your larger bikes like your adventure bikes and Harleys. So before we get into building it, let's see what we actually get in the package. So in the box you actually get some of it already pre-built for you. Take for example these side sections. You get side section A and B, so I'll be referencing them as the letters. If you don't know what I'm on about, then if you do have one of these, you will have a little manual inside the box and it'll tell you what this relates to in terms of the lettering. Right, so you've got side section A and B. Side section A is going to go on my left side, side section B is going to go on my right side. Let's go on with doing that. Right, so we're going to be starting off with these 2 big panels here. It will be quite obvious which one this is in the instruction manual, but they're marked as A or B, but from my own eyes even, I can't tell which one A or B is. But what it does tell you is the one with the shortest leg on the tube is the one that's going to be facing forwards. So you're going to put one on your left side and one on the right side, and those shorter tubes are actually going to act as the rear of the shelter. So what you're going to notice on the 2 poles already partially built is there's going to be a gap between the first and the second one. You want the plates of these to be on the outside of you, so if you're standing in between both of them, you would have the plates on the outside. So the next step is to get the 2 little struts that you're going to actually mount onto either side of these little panels here. One side is going to have a little diagonal line against this. This is going to be going up towards the sky, and this will be a flat one that goes onto the bottom portion of the struts. So I'll show you that just now. So the bolts you're going to use are going to be supplied in the box as is. You're going to have a long bolt like this, as well as a little nut and washer in order to clamp it down all together. You'll get supplied 8 of these, and we're going to be putting them across the whole of the Armadillo. But first we're going to put it into these ones down here. So one goes through there, washer on the back, and then bolt behind that. Right, so it's relatively tricky after you've done your brace to actually get these standing up. In the image down in the picture below, in the instructions that is, it has it already freestanding on its own, but these poles, if on uneven surfaces, will topple over. So once you have the braces on, I would suggest putting in the bars already. Get this one done so you can actually have a bit more structure to your shelter. So as you can see here, I've got that first one in. The next thing you're going to do is going to do it between all the other poles in this lineup until you have kind of like a skeleton of your shelter. Now for the next portion, you're going to have a thing called like a J. It's going to be labelled as J. It's just a little brace bit here, this little bit of metal. It has 2 little holes, slightly bigger hole, and then a bigger hole on the other end of that. That goes onto the outside of the shelter itself. So it goes onto here, where you can see the 2 little holes line up with the little plate that I have in my hand. The bigger hole goes over the bolt, and all you have to do is use the bolts we used earlier, this one with the washer and the nut, and screw that into place down here. Next on the list is the security sleeves. Be sure not to cover those ones you've just bolted into place. These go onto the end of the long-sided that hasn't got a bar on the end of it yet. So if you come here, see here, it goes through this one, the long bar, opposite to the other side, making sure it doesn't cover that bracket. So in the actual cover itself, it will say which one is the front or the rear. So we're going to start off with the rear. So we need the other side of this. Right, we're going to drape this over the top of here, like so, just to get over the top. On the back end, you'll actually see this has Velcro right there. This is going to go over the top of the bar. You're just going to wrap it around and secure it that way. But first, we're going to drape it over the top and pull it down and over. The next thing on the agenda is to get the long poles that we haven't touched since the beginning and slot it through the little tubes or the little inserts on the side of the Armadillo cover itself. So we're just going to slide that down the little bit of tubing. So moving on to the last part, or the last few bits that you need to do. This bar actually goes through this little sleeve here, like so. It does look like it doesn't fit, but it does fit. You just need to shimmy it across, all the way across, and it will pop out on the other side, and then you literally just mount it into here. The next thing you have to do is actually go into the inside, but before we do that, I'm going to close this down and show you the little panels where you need to attach the bars to. So on here you'll see different panels like this. As you can tell, I haven't actually mounted all of them up yet, but you get 1, 2, 3 and 4 little panels here, and this is where you're going to velcro the bars down to. So as you can see, I'm missing one here. This bar is supposed to go here, and I'm just going to shimmy them all across. The best way to do that, of course, is just get inside and do it. So let's go inside. Right, so now that we're inside, we can actually attach these to the little Velcro straps on the bars now. I'm going to shimmy them across one because obviously I missed one, and then that will be all done for the cover itself. And that's pretty much the whole build as a whole. So I'm just going to do this and I'll be back with you in just a second. And that's basically the Armadillo Shelter. If we close it up like this, I'll talk over some of the specs, and we'll also put a bike on the inside so you guys at home can see what it looks like when there's a bike actually on the inside. This material is 600D, it is waterproof. There's vents in here at the side so you can actually have a look into the bike, but it also means that if you wanted to put your bike away while it was still hot, you wouldn't have to worry about it heating up the inside. Just roll up this toggle like you'd find in a tent, put this over like so, and there you have it, an exhaust vent so that hot air can be released. If we move to the bottom of the Armadillo Shelter itself, these security clips that we had earlier, this little tube, actually goes over the top of this brace that we installed to stop that end from flying over. Now, other perks of having something like this, especially if you have kids, is it makes it less an inviting feature in the home. You don't want to get anywhere near it. It's nothing interesting here, and it acts as a second form of defense against your children. Now, let's put a little bike in there so you guys can see what it looks like. Right, so let's actually test out the Armadillo Shelter with James's bike. He's kindly let me use this beast that he's got, the Yamaha MT-10. Let's be sure not to scratch any of the paintwork or to drop it. We'll aim it towards the right hand side because obviously it tilts over to the left. We're going to push it in as far as we can. Don't be afraid to hit the cover a little bit. Put the side stand down, drop it in, and then there you have it. We can put the cover over the top and she disappears. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is the fact that you get supplied some bolts so you can actually mount it to the ground so it's not wobbling around. Now, if you did enjoy this video, give us a like, be sure to subscribe, ride safe, and I'll see you all soon.